Okay, I'm not sure if I am live, although it's saying that I am. Okay, here we go. Okay, perfect. Hello, 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 guys. How are you doing? This is going to be excited. So, before we even get into it, let me just let you know, tag somebody who you know in this group. Ooh, let me turn this down. Tag someone who you know in this group, right? Share this out with people or share this group with people because we're going to be doing these trainings all week and this is going to be some good stuff. Hey, Carla, darling, how are you doing? Hey, Deshay. Hey, Amber, how are you? All right, so let me just get my screen ready. Usually when I do these type of trainings, I usually do it as a PowerPoint, but today I'm just going to be talking to you guys. Again, make sure that you tag someone below that you know in this group or share the group with some people so they can be a part of what we're doing this week. This was not something that I planned. This was really not something that I planned. However, from seeing different posts online last week, it was inspired. So I'm going to be going through a whole bunch of trainings. I'm going to be giving you guys 5 complimentary training this week that will be taking you through the Market Your Message formula so you can get a better understanding of what you're doing in your business. You can get unstuck if you are stuck, and you can pay attention to the things that are going to bring you the income that's going to help increase your income faster. Okay, so one more minute and I'll be ready to go. All right. Hey, darling. Hey, Shanique, how are you? All right, so let's get into it, guys. Today we're going to talk about how to captivate an audience so you can finally be seen and so your message can be heard by the right people. Keyword, the right people, okay? So I am going to be sharing this out different places. This is going to be edited and shared out different places. So depending on where you are watching this at, definitely join us in the Business Loft for Coaches. Okay, so if you are a coach, a service professional, an expert, a speaker, then you will find the Business Loft for Coaches very, very valuable. Okay, and those of you who are watching me live, again, tag some people below. Okay, I'm going to introduce myself really quick. My name is Neola Phillip, the Master Midwife. I am the host of the Business Loft for Coaches, and I help coaches, consultants, and message-driven entrepreneurs find and market their unique message. So in 2 sentences, I help you take your story, your experiences, your lessons, and turn it into a unique message that can really impact other people's lives. And after we do that, I show you how to market that message so you can 10x your income with less overwhelm. And those strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you this week is going to help you do that, okay? So my promise to you for today is by the end of today, you will know exactly how to captivate an audience. You will learn how to emotionally connect with your ideal clients. Okay, you will learn how to be seen by them, and you will learn how to get them to pay attention to your message. All right, that's my promise for you. So 3 announcements before we get in. Number 1, make sure you stay locked in till the end. I'm going to try to keep this in under 30 minutes. I'm going to be talking quickly. Make sure you guys take notes. Okay, number 2, again, tag someone who you know that's in the group below, and make sure that you share this group with someone who you know it will be valuable for. Okay, and then the 3rd thing, if you have not signed up for our VIP messengers list, do so now. Why? Because you're going to get access to our bonus download. So like today, I have a download for you guys. I'll tell you about it as we're going through the training. But not only that, I'm going to have a few surprises for you. And you're not going to be able to get that unless you're on the list. All right, so check out what I'm putting in the comments right now. So if you have not signed up yet, you can go ahead and do so by texting "I'm ready" to that number that you see in the comments below. All right. All right, so let me give you a little bit about my story, I guess, and how Market Your Message came about. So my story is a story of me going from transforming looks to pretty much losing everything to transforming lives through losing everything. And I thought about that this morning. I actually came up with that this morning. I was saying before that I went from transforming looks to transforming lives, but then I really thought about it this morning, and it was through losing everything that I stumbled upon how I can transform lives through my story and through sharing things instead of hiding from things, sharing what I'm going through. And through doing that, I was able to build an audience, I was able to captivate an audience, and now I'm able to get paid through my own experiences, right? So my story is a story of how I went from transforming looks to losing everything, and then transforming lives through losing everything, okay? So I am a ex-salon owner. I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years. Hey, 16 years. I'm making myself older than I am. Hey, Deshaun, how are you, darling? So I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years. And I've tried so many different ways to be successful. And one of those ways is that I opened up my hair salon back in 2011, and I lost my salon in 2012. All right. And I lost my salon through going through financial problems and really not being prepared for that business. And when I look back at it, I also believe that it wasn't my true my true passion and my true purpose. I finally feel that I'm in a place where I found my true purpose. When I was doing hair, I was doing it for money. I was doing it because I was struggling, and I thought that this was the way that I was going to make money faster. And I also believe that's why it didn't work out. I didn't stay with it. Usually when you're working in your purpose, when you're working with things that you're passionate with, you can stick through it more, stick through those bad times. You know what I mean? So just to give you a gist, I opened up my salon, lost my salon, and I ended up losing everything because I put everything into that business. And when I lost that business, the first thing I thought to myself is, I have to go back online. I have 2 children. I was a single mom. I need to get back online, and I need to find a way to make this business work. Okay, so I'm not going to go through my whole story because I know that I'm in the business loft, and a lot of you kind of know my story already. But let me tell you something that I have not shared before. So I am a felon, and I became a felon through a boyfriend that I was with, and pretty much what a lot of women do, which is take the rap for the guys that they're with, or a lot of women that had low self-esteem like me, take the rap because you think that you're in love and that's what you're supposed to do. You loyal, right? You the Bonnie to his Clyde, and I ended up becoming a felon. And the real reason why I could not get a good job and a corporate job, even though I was qualified education-wise, is because of that charge. Okay, so I became an entrepreneur because I had a passion to be an entrepreneur, but also because I had no choice. And oftentimes I still say that when I talk to, like, my husband, for instance, I would say to him, babe, you know, you can always go and work and stop fixing houses and get a job if you want to. But with me, I can't even work at McDonald's, because when you're a felon, those are the problems that you go through with getting good jobs. So I had no choice but to wipe my tears when I lost my salon and come up with a whole nother business idea, because that is the only way I know that I was going to be successful. All right. So I came back online. I started sharing my story, telling people about how I lost the salon, what I went through, the fact that I'm a product of the New York City foster care system, the fact that I was a teenage mom, just sharing all the things that I've been through. And through sharing those things, I started catching people's attention. So people would write me and they would say, you know, how much they needed this, how much I resonated with them, how much they loved my story, how much I gave them hope and inspired them. And even though, guys, even though I was not yet making money, I was captivating an audience. Okay, and I'm going to be sharing with you some real stuff today. So make sure you guys open up your notebooks. Make sure you guys take notes. Okay, so I started to captivate an audience through sharing myself, right? But captivating an audience is not it. You still have to be able to make money to make a living, right? So around that time, because I didn't really have a lot of money and I couldn't hire coaches. I couldn't get a lot of courses and stuff like that. I was learning from free webinars. Okay. Have you guys ever been there? If you're someone who's been there before, just put a 1 in the chat box, because I want to see if you guys could resonate with me a little bit. So I was learning on free webinars. I was the person, the freebie queen, going on all the free webinars, downloading all the free checklists and all the free ebooks, just trying, you know, staying on YouTube and watching all the free videos, just trying to learn everything that I can so I can grow. And I came up with this bright idea one day, right? That, hey, Tamikia, how are you doing, my darling? So I came up with this bright idea that I would do my own webinar, right? So I put together this presentation, got it all ready, went out there. It was Instagram 101, and I was teaching people how to grow on Instagram, right? So I put it out there. Again, everybody loved my stuff, but I didn't sell anything. Then I went back again, and I started selling $15 replays. I would never forget. I started selling $15 replays, and people here and there, I would get like 1 sale, I would get like 2 sales, and then I went in to do an offer. And I got my first $197 sale from doing these presentations. So I felt like I stumbled upon something, right? And I started doing more and more presentations until I became known for doing webinars, being invited on other people's platforms to teach people how to put together captivating presentations. And this has been my secret to my success, which is teaching. It's what I love to do the most. You guys who are new to me are about to see that today. And it's what I'm going to show you how to do. Because the truth is, I believe you have a story. I believe you've been through things. You've overcome some things. You've achieved some things. You've accomplished some things. And because of that, guys, for those of you who are listening to me, because of that, you are in the perfect position to change your life. You don't need a product. You don't need to come up with all, you don't have to have money to buy a building, okay? Just you. You are in the perfect position to change your life. You are in the perfect position to change other people's lives, all by using you. I believe that you are the missing ingredient to your success. So a lot of people spend a lot of time looking for that. What's the thing, right? What's the key? What's that secret? And the truth is, you are the secret. And this week, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove how you don't need anything but you to become a success. Okay, it's what I did, and it's what I know you can do too. All right, so if you're listening to me, I'm going to assume that you need to, in order for you to grow your business, you have to get people's attention. You have to grow an audience. You know this already, right? In order for a business to grow, right? In order for you to get sales, you have to have people that are buying your products, right? So you listen to some of your favorite coaches, and while you're listening to me, just put a yes in the chat box if you resonate. So you listen to some of your favorite coaches, and they say to you, you have to put out content every day, and you have to show up every day with valuable content. And that is the way you're going to start growing your audience, right? And while this sounds good, I want to know, and I want you guys to just answer me, how many of you are posting content, valuable content, every day, but still can't seem to grow your audience? And I'm gonna give you some examples. Let's say you're on Instagram. You're posting every day, but the people who are paying attention is robots and not necessarily ideal clients, and your time that you're spending on Instagram is not really bringing you a return, right? You're posting out every day, but still can't seem to grow an audience. You wanna know why? Because you are the missing ingredient, right? Content, it doesn't help people get to know you. What content does is it positions you as somebody who knows something, right? So you know something. However, people don't care about that before they actually care about you. Have you ever noticed that? Yesterday, and I have one of my clients on with me today, so I'll get to use her as an example. Yesterday, we were talking about client mapping, and I said to her, what is it that makes you gravitate to people, right? Like, what do you notice with people? And at first she said, well, it's what they're saying, because I listen to what people say. And I said, okay, well, go deeper. What are some characteristics about people, right? So then I think she said something, Deshaun, remind me, because I can't remember exactly what you said. But I think she said, you know, I look at their smile, I look at their mouth, I, you know, look at their charisma, you know, how they act towards me while they're speaking, right? The way their hands move, right? And as she was saying that, I'm like, see, the more you think about it, it's not necessarily all the content that people put out that allows you to captivate someone. It's really you, right? That characteristic, how you share yourself, right? Well, it goes even deeper into that. Before people can buy into your programs, before people will buy into your products and services, especially right now and the way business is going right now, they first have to buy into you. And the way you get somebody to buy into you, write this down, is by sharing your story. Okay, the way you get people to buy into you is by sharing your story. Okay, all right, so write that down. The way you get people to buy into you is by sharing your story. So remember, I told you that when I first lost my salon and I came back online, I started to share my story. And I noticed that the times that I would share my story, the different posts that I would put out on Instagram where I would share my story, are the ones that got the most attention, right? It's the ones that people, you know, responded to the most, right? It's a reason why right now reality TV is a big thing. You want to know why? Because we nosy. Because we nosy, all right? It's just what it is. Right now, the world that we're living in, people care more about you. So the businesses that are doing better are the businesses that have personal brands attached to it, right? And I believe the foundation of a profitable brand is sharing your story. Everything needs to come from your story, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so number one, write this down. You captivate an audience by the way you share your story. Write that down. You captivate an audience by the way you share your story. Why? Because, you know, I'll give you an example. When I first started sharing my story about my journey with my daughter and the fact that I was a teenage mom, some of the struggles that I went through, being a single mom, trying to raise a girl in Brooklyn, struggling. And when I started sharing those stories, a lot of other moms resonated with me. A lot of people who've been in that position resonated with me. A lot of people who were in that position at the time resonated with me. But here's the next thing. When I started sharing more about how that's where I was, but through it all, I was able to overcome the struggles of being a single mom. I was able to grow a business. I'm now a six-figure income earner. When I start sharing those things, then what happens to those single moms is they start to feel hopeful. Are you guys writing this down? Are you guys following me? Just tap at the screen if you guys are following me. Okay, so they start to feel hopeful because they're like, wow, if she was a single mom just like I am, right? Or if she was a single mom just like I was, and she was able to grow a business and she was able to go through all of that and still get where she's at, I can do it too. And you have to understand that right now, when it comes to business, when it comes to captivating people's attention, people want to be inspired. People want to be motivated. And you don't only need to drown your programs into people and drum it into them. What you need to do is inspire them. Okay, so instead of, this is the difference between salesy, being able to sell things, or being able to inspire someone to buy something. All right, you guys, my phone is like going off, so I'm wondering if this is an important call. I keep swiping it away. Okay, so are you guys following me? Just put a 1 in the chat box if you guys are following me, okay? So it's not about really getting people into your program. It's about being able to inspire them where they look at you as, OMG, I resonate with her, so she has to be the person that can help me. And this works in any industry. If you're a health coach, same thing. You can't tell somebody, I'm gonna help you lose 200 pounds, I'm gonna help you feel more confident, I'm gonna help you feel more sexy, but you haven't done so. Or you're not sharing the journey of how you were able to lose those pounds. And again, sometimes, and I wanna add this in because I'm just thinking of it as I'm speaking to you, sometimes it's not that, okay, let me see how I should word this. It's better if you're sharing your own story because that's gonna be how you emotionally connect with people. but you can still inspire action inside of people using other people's stories. Okay, so let me just make sure I say that. However, today I'm focused on you getting in your head that you have to start sharing your story. And I'm focused on making sure that you know how to share a story in a way that captivates an audience and in a way that emotionally connects with your right ideal clients. Remember what I said, the right people, okay? People who are divinely aligned to work with you, okay? So I'm gonna give you the two criteria, two things that you want to have in your story. Right now, I'm going to teach you that right now, and I'm going to tell you why you need it. And then also, the bonus download that I have for you guys today is my 4-step captivating story formula. Okay, so if you text "I'm ready" to the number that you see in the title or that you see in the comments, you will get that workbook. So you can get my 4-step formula, the captivating story formula, and you can map out your own story, okay? You can map out your own story, all right? So let's get into the two things that your story needs to do if you want it to captivate an audience and you want to be able to connect, emotionally connect with your ideal clients. Number one, your story has to have some vulnerability, okay? So those of you who are thinking that you're sharing your story, so you might be somebody who, I share my story, Deala. I do post once a week where I put a flashback photo and I share a piece of my story. You might be, and you might be getting some attention, but if you're still struggling with the sales, it's not being told vulnerable enough. I see it all the time, okay? So what happens is there are different ways that I see people tell their story. Number one, you tell it like if it's an event. So this happens, and then this happens, and then in 2012 I did this, and then in 2016 I did this, and it's no emotion. Okay. Another thing is, people as humans, we are designed to protect ourselves. So there are some things that we naturally don't want to share. Right? There's some things that we naturally don't want to share. So when we share, we glaze over certain parts of the story that shows our vulnerability. And I'm telling you, in order to enroll people into you, you got to get vulnerable. Write this down on your notebook. Vulnerability connects, credibility converts. Write that down and write it down in the chat box. I want to make sure you guys are with me. So vulnerability connects, credibility converts. Okay, so your story needs to be vulnerable. There needs to be parts of your story where you go deep. For me, they're one of the parts of my story where I go really deep. And I talk about when I was 29 years old, right? And I was dating. And I remember the night like it happened yesterday. And the person who I thought loved me, the only person who I thought loved me, dragged me into the basement, my unfinished basement in my home. And I remember sitting in a pool of my own urine. And I remember crying just in my head, how did I get here? Why am I still in this relationship? This is not love. And I remember the next day looking in the mirror and just asking myself, is this what you're showing your daughter, Niala? Is this where your life is supposed to be? And I made a decision that day that I was going to change my life. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks later, I was out of that relationship. 11-year abusive relationship. And I never thought that I would get to a place where I was comfortable enough to even share that part of my story. But every stage I get on, and every time I share that part of my story, I get tons of women who pull me aside and say, thank you. The last event I spoke at, I had a lady in tears that pulled me aside and just said, thank you so much. Because what you don't understand is when you allow yourself to get vulnerable and start sharing these parts of you that you think have nothing to do with what you do as an expert, you make it okay for the people who are listening to you. You inspire hope inside of the people who's listening to you. Okay. Hey, Nadia, how are you, darling? Right? You connect emotionally with the people who's listening to you. You become human to the people who's listening to you. And I hope you guys are paying attention, because I see it every day where people are sharing their stories, but it's just not vulnerable enough. There are things you're not sharing. There are things you're afraid to share. There are things that you think is irrelevant. And those are the very things that you need to share to connect with the people who are divinely aligned to work with you. So write it down again for those of you who are now coming with me. Vulnerability connects, credibility converts. So let's talk about credibility, okay? So you can't tell a story that's just vulnerable all the time. Because if you tell a story where you just tell all this bad stuff, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, then there's no hope that a person can get out of it. So when you share your story, you have to show vulnerability, but you also have to share that credibility, because the credibility is what's going to inspire people to take action, right? Because remember, if you're listening to someone's story, you're like, oh my goodness, wow. You know, when people are listening to your story, if it's being told right, and again, you're going to want the download, because the download that I have for you today gives you the 4 parts of the story. It tells you how to find the vulnerability. I actually have a formula, right? And then it also tells you how to find the credibility and how to put your story together in all 4 parts, right? So when you get vulnerable with somebody and you're telling your story, what happens is the people who are listening go back to a time in their life when they've been there. So I can guarantee you that as I was just sharing one of my vulnerable parts of my story, even if you've never been in an abusive relationship, you could take yourself to a place in your life where you felt like you weren't where you were supposed to be. Like your life was not where it was supposed to be. Because remember, you may think that I shared a story of being in an abusive relationship and sharing you an experience of when I was abused, but that's not what my goal of sharing that was. What I really wanted you to get from that part of the story was I was accepting something that I knew I deserved more. My life was in a situation where it wasn't where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be growing my business. I was supposed to be setting an example for my daughter. My daughter wasn't supposed to see cops come into my house every week. She wasn't supposed to grow up to think that that's what love was. And at that point in my life, that's what I was showing her, right? So even if you've never been in an abusive relationship, when you tell that vulnerable parts of your story, the person in the audience who's listening, or the person who's on the webinar, however you're sharing this story, right? The person who's listening is taking themselves to that same point in their life where they felt that same emotion, ding, 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 that word, emotion that you're feeling in the vulnerable parts of your story. And if you stay there and you don't bring people out of that part of the story, then the story becomes a sad story and it doesn't inspire action. So so let me ask you a question. And you know who struggles with this? A lot of speakers. So if you don't have enough credibility and take people out of the story, you find that you speaking everywhere, but still not getting clients. So you all over speaking and people like you and they coming over and they pulling you aside and saying thank you and all of that, but they're still not signing up. You want to know why? Because what did I say? Vulnerability connects, credibility converts. So your story needs a healthy balance of both. And we're going to talk about the credibility in a minute. Okay. Tamika said I was in a 12-year abusive relationship. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Glad that you're a survivor. I was in an 11-year, but you see how you just connected with me in a moment? I love when this happens because I get to show people how what I'm teaching really works, because it happens. People listen to you, and that's how you're going to captivate an audience. Before people are going to care about what you're selling, they have to like you, period. They have to like you. They have to want to hear what you have to say. Right? And what I found is this is the way to do it. And it's not a tactic, it's authentic. It's authentic. You want to know why some people could build a tribe that's huge and other people could be online way longer than them and still can't seem to do it? Because they're not getting vulnerable enough. You're not sharing yourself enough, right? So you're coming online with what you think you're supposed to look like instead of sharing you, because you are the missing ingredient, right? Nadia said I needed to jump. Hey, Nadia, did I say hi to you already? I needed to jump on this live today. I'm glad that it's helping. Okay, so let's get into the credibility. This is the last piece, and then I'm gonna leave you guys. So credibility is all about what you did to get out of that vulnerable state. Okay, so I'm going to use the example of a health coach. Let's say, you know, you're a health coach and you have your story of health. And let's say the vulnerable part of your story is, you know, I was over 300 pounds. You know, the doctor said that if I didn't lose weight now, I'll probably lose my legs. I'm just making up something. So if anyone is in that situation, it's not about you, right? So let's say that that's the vulnerable part of your story. And what happened in your story is that when that happened, you didn't want to lose your legs. So you went on a search to figure out how you was going to become healthier. And while you were on this search, you learned this, and you learned how to eat better, and you learned how to exercise, and you learned all these wonderful things. And now you're teaching other people how to do the same thing, right? Well, when most people tell their story, remember what I said, people glaze over things? What I just said is what they would think a story is. But here's how you really start sharing credibility: by actually going through each of the steps that you took to get yourself out of that vulnerability stage. And when you start sharing a story in that type of way, then you start to inspire action. So by the time you tell them at the end of your story that you are now helping them implement these steps so they can lose weight, so they can live a healthier life, so they can feel more confident, they will look at you as the only option, because you have connected by getting vulnerable, and you have shared enough credibility that positions you as someone who can help them out of that situation. Okay, now the biggest problem that people have, I teach this all the time, and the biggest problem that people have is they don't know what to leave into their story. They don't know what to take out of their story. They don't know how to transition throughout the pieces of their story. Okay, and they don't know how to craft the story in a way that's going to really inspire people and bring out their own uniqueness. Okay, so that is what I do with clients. That is what I do with clients. I listen to their stories. I help them pull in. I ask questions to take them deeper, and we craft stories that set them apart. And that same formula that I use with my clients is what you guys are getting today in the bonus download. All right. So if you're someone who listens to me and you're like, OMG, you know what, Neala is right. I want to be able to captivate an audience, right? And I want to be able to emotionally connect with my ideal clients. You have to text "I'm ready" to the number that you see in the title and in the comments below. Okay. Because that's how you'll get the workbook, where I take you through the 4 steps and you can do it yourself. And if you are someone who wants help with that, all right, I do also have my calendar above. So if you now working with me, you guys already know, if I'm helping you do this, there is an investment. So you will have to go through screening, and we'll have an application process, and we'll do all of that good stuff where I can help you. However, I'm still giving you the workbook. I'm still giving you the workbook because I want you to be able to tonight implement what's in that book and put together a story. And I want to challenge you guys. I'm giving all of you guys permission to hit live and go live in the group this week. Hit live. Everyone will be approved, okay? As long as you're not selling anything, everything will be approved, because this is about learning this week. So I want you guys, after you put together your story, I want to challenge you guys to hit live, right? And share your story with us in the group. I will give you feedback. Okay, that's what I'm going to do for you guys this week, and this week only. All right, so I will give you guys some feedback. All you have to do is craft your story and go ahead, go live in the group this week and share your story with the other group members. Get feedback. Let people tell you how they connected, where they connected. I'll also give you my feedback too. But this is going to be key. All through the week, I'm going to take you through the steps. So tomorrow, let me tell you what we're talking about. Tomorrow, we're talking about how to find your unique message so you can stand out from the crowd and attract your ideal clients with ease. Okay, so today I talked about the first thing that you have to do, which is start sharing your story. But then tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to find your unique message. Okay, and then we're going to go through each week. Okay, each day this week, we're going to go through the Market Your Message formula. And at any time, if you want me to help you through this, I do this with clients in the Market Your Message program. You can book your appointment and we can have a chat, because I'm bringing the last 10 people into the program for this end of the year. Okay, so I'm taking 10 more people in for the end of the year, and that's why we're doing this. Again, I just want to encourage you guys to share your story. Whether you work with me or not, that's not what I want you to focus on. More than I just want you to start sharing your story and sharing it in a way that truly connects with people. You can't glaze over things. You have to be willing to open up. You can't expect people to open up and tell you their deepest desires, their deepest problems, their struggles, all the things that you want to know so you can market to them better, but you're not opening up to them first. It just can't happen. Okay? All right? So unfortunately, this Facebook will not let me open up my comments. Let me just see if I can get it on here, because I want to see if I'm missing anything. If you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and put it below. I don't see anything on here either, so it looks like Zoom is really screwed up with us today. But in any case, I just want to thank you guys for joining me today. Do not forget, I'll be back tomorrow. No, there is no specific time, but I will announce it in the group so you have ample enough time to join me. And make sure that you text I'm ready to 480-418-1411 so you can get your bonus materials for today, okay? All right, guys, I want to thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.